Do you have enough light in your life? Are you soaring in the joy around you? Are you stuck and unable to make life happen? Stay tuned for the Rabbi Jenny Show, where you will learn how to bask in the light and find more joy and meaning in life. Call to talk to Rabbi Jenny at 888-565-1470 and email questions and comments at rabbijenny.com. And now, if you're ready, stay tuned for the Rabbi who will light your world on fire, Rabbi Jenny.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. It's Rabbi Jenny. I'm so glad that you are here. The storms are out in the ocean and it is an exciting time in Florida. And we are here today to talk about lighting up your life. Today's topic is remembering who you are and the important part of remembering who you are at that crucial moment when you're just about to explode into space. That's what we're going to talk about. It's really, really exciting. But first we have some housekeeping. This is our first day live on Facebook. You can also check us out on iHeartRadio. Check me out on Twitter at Jenny Rabbi, and always go to rabbijenny.tv, fill out a form, ask me any question you want. I love to hear from you. I love to send you my daily lights. I love to be a part of your life and help you become the person you want to be. And before we move to remembering who you are, we're going to go to the two main ideas of the Rabbi Jenny Show. These are two ideas that you have to make a part of you every day, all day long. I don't want you to ever forget them, and they are a part of remembering who you are. The first idea is this: the world is happening for you and not to you. That's 100% of the time. The world is happening for you and not to you. And you're saying, Jenny, I can't see that. No matter how messy it is, no matter what you think is happening, it is happening for you and not to you. And why? Because you are divine love light energy, and you are always expanding, and you are always growing, becoming better and more, just like every other piece of divine source energy out there. You're not any different. You're a part of the whole, which is a part of remembering who you are. So this is an exciting show because we're in an exciting time in Torah. And I want to bring to you the image that I bring to a lot of people that I teach and my team at work. I talk about the rocket ship. I love space. My son wants to go to space. I'm a big space fan. It's the greatest reminder of how beautiful and wonderful life is to look at the stars. But I want to give you an image of the rocket ship, okay? Let's just say the beginning of the story of Moses, the beginning of that story when he gets in the water. That's like when you get the boosters, everybody's watching Kennedy, the Space Center over there in Cocoa Beach. Everybody's waiting to watch the rocket take off. That's that point. And then Moses goes into the ocean. Then that rocket's got to go up, and it shoots up, and it drops its boosters. We did that. We let go of Pharaoh. We let go of all sorts of stuff. And we're getting up high, and we're getting into that crucial part. This crucial part is where we are. We're right in Deuteronomy. We're right before we're about to explode into the Earth's orbit. And right when we're going into the Earth's orbit, we're in our most fragile place, breaking through that hot atmosphere. How many movies have we seen? How many things have we heard of things that they just blow apart? That's where we are right now, right before Moses lets go, and we emerge into the atmosphere, into the orbit, and we start rotating with Joshua right in that moment, right before. And what is Moses doing? Moses is telling them to remember. That's why the show today is about the gift of remembering. Not remembering the bad, but remembering the good. Remembering that you are a part of a divine source in light that sent manna from the heaven, that sent water from the rock, that sent the plagues to set you free, tracking the whole journey. He says it 4 times this week in Ekev. We're in Deuteronomy 7:12, and he says remember. And I believe that the scroll, the Torah, is a code. Why are we saying this word, remember, over and over again? What's the hint? Because at this point, you're like, why? We've already heard the story like 4 times. They keep telling it. Why now? Why right before the end? Right now. And this is for you, listener, because somebody out there is about to go into orbit. And right before we go into orbit, what happens? It's so strange. We get hit with this amazing energy that sometimes can slip us into a weird anxiety or a weird depression. And we want to let go, but we have to remember. How do we do that? What are the tools that we need to do to do that? And there are a few tools I'm going to bring to you on today's show. And it's so funny. I have so many things going through my head that were unexpected. One of them was The Lion King. I'm a little random. Rabbi Jenny gets a little random. I never saw The Lion King as a story of Moses, but everything's Torah to me. So now I'm seeing it as the story of Moses. And right when Simba is ready to like give up, his father comes and says in the stars, remember who you are, Simba. Remember you're my son and the one and only true king. And I just love this image. It's the same archetype. It's that same idea that right when you're going to step right into your full power, you need some tools. You need some tools of remembering. And what do we do to remember? Let me tell you, we talked about your journal last week, listeners. This is important. You have to always have a journal for me. If you didn't go out to the bookstore and buy yourself a pretty journal, guess what? You're going to go do it today, because it's very, very important that you start to build a relationship with yourself. Because Moses, Israel, Joshua, remember, it's all you. It's all your journey, your divine love, light, energy. So you get that journal and you do the one exercise. You go outside and you notice everything. Every single thing outside. Notice everything. And then you're going to do something neat that a lot of people talk about. You're going to write a gratitude list. You're going to remember and be grateful for all the things that have happened up until that point. And you're going to do that every single day. If you're anxious and you're depressed, I've got news for you. There's nothing wrong with you. You've just forgotten. You've forgotten who you are. And we live in a culture, thank God, because I get to talk to you like this, but we live in a culture that's very technologically attached on the outside. So we need to be reminded to go inside and remember. And so people are suffering with anxiety and depression, and they're not sleeping, and it's like, what is this? What can I do? What can I take? How can I think? I think it's simply a matter of remembering, matter of committing to remind yourself every single day that you are a piece of this earth, that you're a piece of the gift of life. And that takes commitment. There are a couple quotes I wanted to read to you. Harriet Tubman, who was an amazing woman, we all know the Underground Railroad and what she did. And she said, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Margaret Mead, we love her. Always remember that you are absolutely unique, just like everyone else. So I went through I did some research on remember. I did it from a Hebrew perspective, and I did it from the dictionary, the regular old English dictionary. And the first thing we want to look at is the word remember, like remember. It's not necessarily, a member is a part, and is to remember that you're a part of something, right? And synonyms to remember are recollect. So you're collecting all the truths about who you are, right? And then there's recalling things. Now, we always think of dismember, like the rocket that'll blow apart. So we have to remember, we have to contain, we have to hold together. But then I went into the Hebrew letters of the word, the three main letters of the word of remember, and I tracked them through the sacred principles of the 10 energy centers, and I looked at what that pathway looks like to remember. What does that mean to contain? Why would you need the energy of the Zayin and the Kuf and the Resh, which is Zachor, Azrenu, or any form of those three letters? But those are the three main Hebrew letters. So what is the hint in this word? Why does Moses say it 4 times? He doesn't just recall them. He always says that word, remember, remember, remember. Why those 3 letters? And I wanted to tell you the tale of those 3 letters, and they're very interesting because they all center around your heart. They all center around getting connected with your heart in order to form creation. And you have to it's like a containment, folks. So when you begin to remember, you're actually connecting to wisdom. You're connecting to your higher wisdom, and you're connecting that wisdom right to your heart. You're connecting it to your heart. And then you're going to reach inside your heart for compassion and love. You're remembering. That's the kuf. You're going to remember. You're going to reach inside for compassion and love to go to Netzach, which is victory, to reach victory, to finish, okay? So you're going from wisdom to your heart. You're remembering love, and then you're going to get victory. And then after you're ready for victory, remember we talk about this, that moment of containment when you're going to shoot into orbit. I mean, I could do a lot of other scenarios that are a lot like this in creation, but the next thing you're going to do is you're going to reach back into your heart, right? You're going to reach back into your heart in order to create in Yesod, which is the Resh, to shoot it out and create something wonderful into life and to enter into orbit. Until next time, you want to create something new. So it's really important. The message today on the Rabbi Jenny Show is to remember who you are. We're going to talk about the one exercise. Remember, one exercise. I'm going to be very repetitive. I'm working on this so you don't forget when you are sleeping. You hear my voice. That would be wonderful. And so, well, that's kind of creepy. But anyway, so you're going to, the word one, O-N-E, you're going to go outside and you're going to notice everything. And you're going to write it in your journal that you've just bought at Barnes & Noble because it's beautiful. Or Walgreens, you can get a notebook, or Office Depot. Really doesn't matter. I'm not plugging anyone unless they want to plug me. All right, so you're going to do that. But I want to tell you about this word one because I was talking with a friend of mine who's coming on the show, a beautiful lady, and we were talking about this idea of the one and remembering that you're a part of the one. And we're always talking about that you're a part of the divine love light energy that is one, and containment takes knowledge of the one. In Judaism, we have a prayer. We have a central prayer. They always say it's the highest prayer in Judaism. It's Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Moses says it just as many times as he says, remember, at the end of Torah. It's all throughout these words. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Hear. Okay, but it's not a traditional prayer that says, praise God, thank you, God. It's not one of those. It's like, hear, listen, remember. Remember that you're one. So one of the other things, if you're not of the Hebrew faith, this could be a little bit of a challenge, but, I've always believed that we all have to learn a little bit from every culture. If you say the Shema, you're actually sending a message to yourself. You're actually reminding yourself to listen up. You're reminding yourself to smell the beautiful flowers. You're reminding yourself that every time you breathe in and breathe out, it's a miracle. Okay? I often say, we take our heartbeat for granted. It's not any different than anyone else's heartbeat, but the fact that it just beats is really? Are you kidding me? How'd that happen? It's like electricity. I don't know how that works either, but I don't question it. Your heart is beating, and it's electric, and it's going, and it keeps you going, and it's a miracle. I could go on and on about this, folks. I could go on and on about remembering. I have a lot of stuff written down. I always do. So we went into the Shema. We went into this. I have this wonderful quote. I want to read you this because I just find it. I'm always doing a little bit of research for you. And Longfellow, beautiful poem, and Evangeline. It was one of his most beautiful works. But it's hard to find things about positive remembering. And as a young Jewish girl, I wanted to bring this up because when it comes to remembering, we always think about the Holocaust. And we always think about, never forget, always remember. That's all I heard as a little girl. And I think that it is important to remember pain. It is important to remember the past so we don't repeat the same mistakes. But I think remembering can also be an art of positivity. I think it's because it's not remembering a specific incident. It's remembering your actual nature. It's a deeper remembering. It's remembering your connection to life, your connection to the heavens. And that's what I believe Longfellow is talking about when he talks about that the stars are actually sort of signposts for remembering. And he says, silently, one by one, in the infinite meadows of heaven, blossom the lovely stars, the forget-me-nots of the angels. And I just love that they're put there by the angels so we don't forget how vast and beautiful this universe is. Yeah. This is Rabbi Jenny. We're talking about remembering who you are and getting out into orbit. We'll be right back. Keep listening. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome back to the Rabbi Jenny Show. We're talking about remembering who you are, remembering that you're a part of the divine, remembering as a tool to contain whatever's going on in your life, using it as a tool, because if I just have this feeling that people are watching and people are listening and everybody's about to soar into orbit. And if you missed the beginning of the show, please tune in and hear about that, because there's this moment right before you're going to explode into space. It's a very, very crucial, scare. It's like that moment of birth, right before, where things can happen. And so you want to be in a state of remembering, not remembering pain, remembering who you are. That's what this is about. Remembering that you are one, that you are part of the divine, that God is with you. And it is time to remember myself through looking at a beautiful lady, and to introduce our bad mama Gemma. Rabbi Jenny. Bad. Really? Mama Gemma. Bad mama Gemma. So our bad mama jamma today is Tracy Kawa. I have to say, Tracy, I love your name. Say hi, Tracy.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Rabbi Jenny. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited. Tracy came to me as a gift. She called in last week, thank goodness, but she came to me as a gift. She's a businesswoman, entrepreneur. Tell the listeners what you do, Tracy.
So I am a reinvention specialist, and what I do is I actually help people find their purpose and their passion.
It's so cool. I did, Tracy. You know what? Why don't we just go right into the assessment? Because I have to tell you, Tracy has developed this amazing tool, and I'm still thinking about it because I completed this assessment this morning. I'm still thinking about some of the things that came out. Tell the listeners about your assessment and what it is and what it helps them in moving forward.
Okay, so the Kawa assessment is a 32-question, 20-minute online assessment tool that actually helps you see what you can't see about yourself. It gives you a glimpse into your blind spot. So, for instance, it helps identify what your professional values are. So I'm not talking about like your everyday values about, love, family, integrity. I'm talking about what's truly important to you in business.
Yes.
So the whole assessment is really based around business because I felt like there was a gap in the market between the assessments that were out there. There are some fabulous assessments out there, but I couldn't find anything that I liked to use as a tool with my clients to help bring who they are personally into their professional life.
Yes.
Into their businesses.
And the assessment itself is I was amazed at how, first of all, how easy it was. Like, it wasn't something I was like, oh, I have to answer 1,000 questions.
Yeah,
it was
20 minutes, 32
it's kind of
questions.
Fun, you know, it's you're selecting between different values that you value in different areas of business, and even the words are kind of, well, why did she put that, or why is it that, you know? And I just kind of, you told me not to think about it, so I just did, and I have to say, like, for myself, it was very accurate.
That's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be accurate. It's meant to help identify not only your professional values, but your professional strengths, so that you can either brush up on some skills that may be weaker strengths, or align yourself with people who have those strengths in more of a pronounced way, so that you can build teams. You can really create business culture with this assessment. There's just so many things. It helps to identify your selling style, because even though we say, like, oh, I'm not a salesperson, truth of the matter is that every single person sells in one fashion or other. Like, we're constantly selling ourselves as people. So it's a matter of, how do we do this? Do we sell by solving problems? Do we sell by creating relationships? Are we competitive sellers? So it really helps take this fabulous glimpse into a blind spot, and to take all of those elements, you can do so much with it, like build your business. If you're looking for a job, it can help you build your resume. It's given people that I've worked with the confidence to say to themselves, okay, I'm going back to school because I've always wanted to do this, but I didn't have the confidence to do it.
And there's a part of the assessment, because we're going to stick with the topic, we're going to stick with remembering who you are. There's a part of the assessment where you see your strengths, you know, in certain areas, and it's kind of rated or whatever. And the way that Tracy presents it is in a state of, you know, remembering, like, oh, wait, I'm good at that too. Like, oh yeah, of course, I remember I did that in college, or I did that when I was in high school, or you're right, I was a motivator, or I promoted people, or whatever. Like, you remember stuff. It's not reactive. It's a proactive assessment. You
Exactly.
know? It's a way to kind of recall certain gifts, I think. That was what I got from it.
I like to refer to it as an excavation tool.
Yes.
I excavate with it. Like, I can just put on a hard hat and excavate into somebody's psyche, somebody's business acumen, somebody's passions. And I have this theory where you're in your zone of purpose when your interests meet your strengths. Like, right here, you see that right there? That's where your interests meet your strengths. And when you're operating in that zone, that's your zone of purpose, as I like to call it. And the whole universe opens up to facilitate helping you go to the next level when you're operating in that zone.
So, Tracy, for you, like, have you been, like, when we're talking about the topic and we're talking about remembering, where do you find you have difficulty remembering? Like, at what moments in your life and what times in your life, what challenges in your life do you feel that remembering, you know, that you're a piece of divine light, I know it's, you know, is harder than others, like for the listeners, or even if you could recall one time where it was just you, like, because we can forget.
Well, we can definitely forget, because I think that as people, sometimes we have a tendency to value ourselves according to what we think, or how we think others are valuing us.
Right.
So sometimes we get into this mindset where everyone becomes a reflection of us. So I think that remembering is so crucial and critical then, because when we excavate into ourselves to realize and remember who we are, then we're like, oh yeah, I am good at this, or that's why I always liked that particular job that I have. I was never able to place my finger on it, but I used to love that job. Maybe I'll continue in a job in human resources, training people, so I feel like sometimes we identify ourselves too much by our thought of what others think about
Or
us.
want, or
And
old
we don't
ideas.
know what others
Yeah.
think about us. We don't know.
So do you have a moment, a Tracy moment, when that happened for you?
That is really interesting that you are asking me that, because I actually had a moment like that where I was identifying my own strengths as a salesperson or as a business person. And this is when I first started in business. And I couldn't figure out why I had this blockage. And then I traced it back to a situation. Like, my mother and I have a great relationship. I love her to death. She is my biggest supporter, always in my corner. And at the same time, you know, sometimes, you know, we say or do things that we're not meaning to, you know, hurt somebody's feelings. It's so inadvertent. But I traced it back to a time where I had done something for myself, and I didn't get the reaction I expected from my mom. So in that moment, it hurt me. And I think I shut myself down in certain ways as someone who deserves to advance in certain capacity. I became more of a people pleaser.
Sure.
In that moment.
Sure. I can share a very similar experience. Like when I was younger, I was in front of a lot of people a lot, but when you're a little person in front of a lot of people, it's quite scary.
Very scary.
Right. And it's pretty normal to be scared.
Absolutely.
And in fact, most athletes will agree, if you're more scared and you're more sick, you actually probably perform better. I'm not really sure what that's about, but maybe it's that whole rocket ship thing.
That adrenaline.
That whatever that is.
Through the gates.
Right. But I have to say that I was shamed for being afraid. So then it became, you're not meant to do this with your life. But actually, I was actually good on the other side of the curtain.
It's like a label that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
And then we step into that and we live in that drama. And that drama is usually in our heads. Because a lot of times the other person didn't even mean the way we interpreted it.
Right. So it's like erasing memories to get back to remembering the truth.
The Shema.
Yeah.
Saying the Shema like you said over and over again.
Any other moments come up about, maybe a moment where you acted on remembering and then like a strength and took a chance?
So, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you, I actually conducted a small focus group once.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So this isn't exactly a story about me. Like I have to kind of excavate my psyche right now to remember an exact one about me. But I conducted a small focus group, and it's really interesting because on this subject of remembering, what I found when I was working, as a reinvention specialist when I was first starting up, I found that women we're so used to reinventing ourselves, right? Like we come out of college, we have careers, we step out to get married and have children. A lot of times we stay at home, we step back, we decide, okay, it's time to get, back into the work world. Yeah. Exactly. And then, we go through different career changes and empty nest syndromes. So we're constantly like redefining and reinventing ourselves. Well, what I found at this focus group is men, they don't like to necessarily feel that they are reinventing themselves. It's more like they're recapturing. They're recapturing lost dreams that might have been buried somewhere along the way. And what I found is using the assessment tool, it really helps to uncover and peel back the layers of that onion so that they can recapture what they buried. So it's not so much that I had a situation that rocketed me, but I've seen that action in play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's such an exhilarating feeling for me to know that I'm a part of uncovering someone else's passion that has been so buried down so deep inside.
There's just a lot going on, and I think it's a matter of, I love that word, excavation. I'm like, that's such a Tracy word.
That's
such
Tracy's
word.
Excavate.
And but it's that whole idea of kind of clearing away all the false messages and getting to the true messages. And what do you do to surround yourself with people and places that bring you the truth? And that, that takes time and choices and grace, I think.
Yes.
So the Kawa assessment, quickly, your website, before we go to break again.
If you go to www.tracykawa.com and click on Because You Matter, because you do matter.
All right, this is Rabbi Jenny. We're here with Tracy Kawa on the Rabbi Jenny Show, talking about Remember Who You Are. Stick with us. Keep listening. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, welcome back. It's Rabbi Jenny. We're here with Tracy Kawa, and we're talking about remembering who you are. And during break, we were talking about that time in our life where we get caught up in our head and we get caught up in our own crap, I believe is the word that we were using, and our fear. And I think, Tracy, you used the word control. Like, talk about that, like when we get stuck in that control.
Yeah, like there are times that, I'm so into my work that I want to control everything, and I'm literally afraid to stop because I want to keep the momentum going, not realizing that it's all part of the master plan of the universe. I'm in my zone of purpose. I get to take that break. I get to be with my family. I get to take that time away from work to create the space, to let everything that I've worked so hard for manifest. And you know what? And to celebrate everything that I've worked so hard for.
But it's remembering. I want to get to the theme of the show, so you remember to get a journal. You know how I feel about journal, but we're going to talk about something else because I think that there are some spiritual practices that you can do. It's about making a commitment to keep yourself in a state of remembering your divinity. Keeping yourself in a state of remembering who you are. And that means when you wake up in the morning, having some sort of a practice. It doesn't matter if it's take your shoes off and go walk on the grass. Whatever you choose to do for your spiritual practice, a daily meditation reading, a prayer, breathing, yoga, whatever it is, that it is specifically intended. Right, Tracy?
That is really so important because I noticed that since I either journal in the morning or meditate in the morning, it's that space for me to collect my thoughts and really get grounded on what I want to create that day and also manifest.
One of the teachers that I listen to the most, Caroline Mace, has this prayer, hover over me. And when I'm in the morning and I do my prayers and I daven, it's a moment where I'm remembering I'm not starting my day by myself. I think that's part of that forgetting is that we feel alone. And when Moses is saying, remember, he took you out. Remember, he got you this. Remember, he got you that. Remember, he's there. Remember. And it's like, I'm connected, reconnected and not alone. And so that I offer that to you, which was given to me by her, that whole idea of be with me. surround me. And when I forget you're there, remind me. Remind me that you're there. Remind me that I'm not alone. Whether it's in meeting a new friend or whether it's in a smile or a beautiful bird flies by, remind me. Help me remember. Help me snap out of it.
And I think it's something that you said to me earlier today when we were speaking about connecting you to yourself. You were talking about, and that really struck me when you said that. Because essentially, like, that's what I do. I connect people to themselves as professionals and connect them to their businesses.
Yes.
And when you said connecting people to themselves, it landed again for me as a great reminder that we're reminding ourselves in the morning through remembering that we're connecting to ourselves and connecting to the universe around us, that we're not alone.
Yes.
And you were saying earlier about being in technology.
Yeah, well, we're always
Right?
outward. We're always focusing out, and the greatest relationship in your life is that one, the one inside. You wake up every day with you. And I don't know how many people wake up like, oh, do I have to do this again? Instead of, oh my God, I get to spend a whole day with myself. This is so exciting.
Right, because like I say in my book, The Seven Pillars of Reinvention, I say, wherever you go, you bring yourself with you.
Yes,
You
it's
bring
true.
yourself with you.
So you gotta like yourself. There's nobody like you. I always, you're completely unique in those ways that make you you. Your personality has developed, and the quirks and everything about you is fabulous. And you have to learn to appreciate those things because they've gotten you this far. Tracy, tell everybody about your book. That's a great.
So my book is The Seven Pillars of Reinvention: Finding Your Passion and Your Purpose, and it's an ebook. It's available on my website, www.tracykawa.com. That's Kawa. And really, it was written because it was really weighing on my heart. I wanted people to understand why they even needed to evaluate themselves for professional success.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of self-help books and a lot of books out there that are fantastic. I felt that I really needed something to help me explain to people how to, or the questions that are so important in making your choices about your future. I mean, I always say we make the two biggest decisions of our life when we're in our early 20s: marriage, marriage, and what we're going to do for the rest of our lives. Oh, and maybe even sometimes kids. And that's all made when we're in our 20s, before that front
Frontal
portion
lobe is completely developed.
So that's
I
what
talk
we're
about it
all
every
out
day
there.
at work.
That's what we're all out there. We're making the three largest decisions of our lives
Right.
before the frontal lobe is developed.
Right.
So go figure. So I wanted something that would be like a manual that people could refer to over and over again. And I don't want to call it a life manual, but it's a manual that'll help guide and you can ask yourself the right questions so that you know if the decision you're making to move towards a career or to take your next step, whether that's the right one for you.
I think it's important that the listeners also understand, like, even, in my life, I mean, there's been so many areas of my life where I'm very clear, and you can't really argue with me much about my faith. You cannot, to get in front of all of you and tell you how much God loves you is just not really a challenge. But as a woman in this culture, I'm very challenged with business. I'm very challenged with success. I'm very challenged with the idea of entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah.
And even words like that make me kind of go, is that really for me? Or success, that you shouldn't want success. That's not right. That's bragging. There's all these kind of really misconceptions about what success is. And I think even Tracy's ability to there's just something about her, like that she just kind of makes it okay to step into your own power, step into your own realization, and step into your own success. Because, if you shine, the world gets brighter. And I really believe that. That's why I'm so compelled to light people up, because my world gets brighter.
Absolutely.
It's not, everybody's trying to cast shade. I don't understand that. You cast shade, your world gets darker because we're one.
Absolutely.
Right.
When you shine at your brightest light, you allow others to shine at their brightest light. And my favorite quote, I'm going to share it, by Orison Swett Marden, the founder of Success Magazine. He said, "We lift ourselves in our thought. We climb upon our vision of ourselves." So we are meant to lift ourselves up and shine at our brightest light so that others can shine at theirs.
And engaging in a spiritual practice, which helps you remember, is so important, whether it's breathing, meditating, going outside and noticing everything. Tracy, tell the listeners about your show. You have a new show. It's exciting.
My new show is on Monday nights at 6:30, 1470 a.m., also on AMP2 TV Productions, Facebook Live. Tell us
so
your
exciting.
tell us your biz. So it's really meant to spur the marketing wheels, to spur the listeners' marketing wheels in a
yes.
positive direction. So people who have questions about marketing their business, going to the next level, can call in, ask questions. We interview someone new, different every week. Because the truth of the matter is, even a doctor, an attorney, they are also businessmen because they
Absolutely.
are running their businesses.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes that's the one class that really every single person should take when they're in school.
Oh, I remember
Because-
when I was in law school, that was like the one class you don't take, and then you get out and you realize,
hello.
wait a minute, how do you run a practice?
Right.
You
So
know?
right. So my next book, my book that I'm working on now is Congratulations, Graduate. What's next?
Right.
Because that's what you do. You come out with your degree and then you're like, oh, what's next?
Well, and it's scary because
Yeah.
I've just learned all of this stuff and I feel like a complete moron. I mean, seriously, I'm going to get really honest. You feel like, what?
With all this knowledge in your head, all this
of
book
this
smart.
knowledge, and I'm terrified to open up a business account and start a corporation.
Exactly.
And giving yourself the permission to ask for help, because part of remembering
Yes.
is that we're all together here. It's a we thing. We're all part of the
Exactly.
whole, and I need Tracy, and you need people,
And I need
to,
you.
yeah, to remind you of the different
Absolutely.
things in your life, like success, so you can take yourself to another level.
Right.
Like you can never. I don't believe. I believe you should be satisfied in on the inside, but the life is always calling you to do more and more. You're always expanding and you're always growing. So to take yourself to another level, like just when you get there it disappears. It's time to come around the mountain again, right? Like exactly.
Exactly.
I always say you get to Zion, but then we start reading the
Get there and you
Torah
look
again.
around,
Whatever.
it's like, wait a minute, I thought I've arrived. Up, there's another level to climb.
I know, it's very strange,
Yeah.
and even in the even in the Jewish faith, when the Torah ends, it's so exciting. You celebrate the Torah, it ends, blah 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 blah, and then you get to start all over again and start the whole journey again. And I think that that's the message of life. Why we always have to engage in this practice. Going to go with the theme of the show again. Remembering.
Remember.
Tracy, tell the listeners all your information. Tell them your website. Tell them your show. Tell them your books. Do it again.
Okay,
for
so
us.
to find me, you can go to my website, www.tracykawa.com, TracyKawa.com. And there you'll find my website, my assessment, the Kawa assessment.
Please do. It's so cool.
On the Because You Matter page, and that's because you matter, because everyone matters. My book, The 7 Pillars of Reinvention, can also be found on my website. That's my ebook. And tell us your biz. If you tune in 6:30 Monday nights, 1470 a.m., AMP2 TV Productions live on Facebook. That's me. That's where you'll find me. And I hope you call in and participate, because I want to share my 25 years of marketing experience, and I want to share stories and things that I've learned through using the assessments and helping others to go to their next level.
What do you think, Tracy, is the most important thing that you need to remember about Tracy? What do you think that, like, being here on the Rabbi Jenny show? I mean, about you. Because, I mean, it's like we have people in front of us telling us that we're amazing at kind of excavating lost pieces.
Okay.
What do you need to remember about you? Give the listeners permission to do this.
Okay, so I'm going to do the Oprah, what I know for sure.
What I know for
so
sure.
What I know for sure is that it is okay to accept the fact that I can be a powerhouse, or that I can be effective. I think it's okay to accept the compliments that people gave me.
How about just Tracy's going to remember she's a powerhouse today.
Ooh.
Woo! We'll go with that one. This is Rabbi Jenny. Keep listening. We'll be back with the jam and the joy jar. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net.
Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin.
You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. We're back. We're talking about remembering who you are, and it is time for the Joy Jar Challenge.
Joy, 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 joy. It's Adeline Gobergstein, and it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Hi, this is Rabbi Jenny. Who's on the air?
Hi, Rabbi Jenny. This is Dr. Jenna Boschover.
Dr. Jenna?
It is.
Hey, Dr. Jenna. You ready for the Joy Jar Challenge?
I'm ready.
All right, I want 10 things, Dr. Jenna, that make you ridiculously joyful.
10 things that make me ridiculously joyful and that I love. Well, number one is I love being a chiropractor.
Yeah.
I love owning my own practice. I get joy and love from my team that supports me. I love and get joy from my family. I love my supportive friends. I love helping families and kids. I get joy from eating hot dogs.
Me too.
I love dancing. I love skiing, and I love having fun.
Oh, my goodness. That's so funny, Dr. Jenna. I go to Manhattan, I have to eat a hot dog on the street. I don't understand it. It's the weirdest thing, but it's fantastic. Or the ballpark. You know, you always have to have one in there, right?
Absolutely.
So Dr.
Absolutely.
Jenna, what do you want to promote on the Rabbi Jenny Show today?
Well, I would love to share a little bit about my office. I am Dr. Jenna Chiropractic, and I am located in Plantation, just outside of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
And you can find us online at favoritechiropractor.com or by calling our office at 954-417-5815.
And any kind of special services, Jenna?
Absolutely. I have extra training in pregnancy and pediatrics, so I see lots of babies, kids, expectant mamas, and their young, healthy, fit families.
I have to say, my 13-year-old saw a chiropractor most of the end of last year, and it changed everything. He grew very quickly. Jenna, you can probably confirm this. He grew too fast, 5 inches, and he went to a chiropractor. So I want to encourage listeners to see you. Tell them your phone number again, Dr. Jenna.
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you. 954-417-5815.
And your office hours?
We are open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 to 1 and 3 to 7, and we are open Saturday mornings from 9 to 12.
Okay, Dr. Jenna, thank you for calling the Rabbi Jenny Show.
Thanks so much, Rabbi Jenny, for having me.
Have a ridiculously joyful night.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. It is time. Actually, before we go to the Jenny Gym, I want to read this neat quote because we're talking about remembering who you are. This is Rabbi Jenny, and we're talking about remembering who you are, inspired by the end of the Torah when we're getting ready to walk into the promised land. And Moses goes on and on about remembering. Maybe you're about to. I actually do feel this about somebody who's listening is about to shoot into orbit and really get where you've been working really hard for. But this is the crucial moment. This is the moment we have to remain contained. And how do you contain yourself? Is you remember. You actually increase your discipline would also be good advice. But this is a quote by C.J. Heck, and it's a cool quote about remembering from my perspective for today. Not to remember the negative, but to remember the positive. We all have an inner voice, our personal whisper from the universe. All we have to do is listen, feel, and sense it with an open heart. Right? Remember the heart? Sometimes it whispers of intuition or precognition. Other times it whispers an awareness or a remembrance from another place. Dare to listen. Dare to hear with your heart. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of remembering. Hearing with your heart. Okay, so we're going to do the Jenny Jam.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Jam. Rabbi Jenny Jam.
All right. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to look at you while I do it. All right, here we go. Just a little reminder, yeah, you're a piece of divine love. Yeah, just a little reminder, yeah, you're a piece of divine love. Yeah, seems you have forgotten where it all began. Caught yourself some generalized anxiety, man. Think you need to take a pill to find yourself some peace. Simply plug on in and you will find yourself released. Just a little reminder, yeah, you're a piece of divine love. Yeah, just a little reminder, yeah, you're a piece of divine love. Yeah, seems you have forgotten who and what you are. Diagnosed with depression and you cannot go far. Baby, it's as simple as remembering the truth. You have got the universe beating inside you. Just a little reminder, yeah, you're a piece of divine love. Yeah, no motivation, innovation, shaking like a leaf. Watching TV, video games don't provide relief. You can't treat it with medication. You can't treat it with talk. You gotta swim in the ocean and go out for a walk. Look up at the clouds, look down at your feet, breathe in all the air and hear your heart beat. The rhythm of the sun, the cycle of the moon, the flow of the tide is all inside you. Connect and remember, take time to embrace, explode into purpose, no time to waste. Just a little reminder, yeah, you're a piece of divine love. Woo! Yeah, just a little reminder, yeah, you're a piece of divine love. Yeah. Oh, that was that one just came. I just love this. I'm like, what is this all about? What this is all about is the 80s. This is what Run DMC did to me. This is what it did to Rabbi Jenny. It's important. You're going to do a TV show to inspire people. What do you have to do? Rap. That's what it's like to grow up on Saturday Night Live and Run DMC. There it is, and the Beastie Boys. So we're going to talk a little bit more about remembering. I'm going to remind you, I'm going to light you up for these last few moments where we talk about the fact that you have got to get yourself a practice on a daily basis where you remind yourself and remember who you are, because this is your moment. Whoever's out there listening, this is your moment. You've been working. You're taking off in that rocket ship. This is the moment in Torah right now. So this is the rhythm. You're in the rhythm of Torah. This is the rhythm of your life. It is August. We're coming upon New Year's. We're coming upon the end, folks. The rocket ship is taking off. The boosters are gone. They've fallen to the ocean. And you are breaking through that atmosphere. And the rocket is shaking, remember. So you're shaking. So you might be a little nervous. You might actually be sabotaging a little bit, which actually happens a little bit. So what do you need to do? You need to increase your discipline. What is the first thing I told you to do last week? I'm going to tell you it again this week. Please go out and buy yourself a notebook or a journal. Go outside and get yourself a notebook and a journal. Last week we talked about writing a hi, who are you to yourself. This week, you're going to go outside and you're going to notice everything because you're just about ready to explode into orbit. So you're going to go outside and notice everything, and you're going to be grateful for it. You can say thank you. Thank you for the grass. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for the birds. Thank you for my arms, my legs, and my eyes. Thank you for the fact that when I breathe in, someone else breathes out. I breathe in, someone else breathes out. We're all connected. We're all divine. Look to the people that you love this week. Remember that they're there. Yes, they may fall short. Yes, they may not always say the right things, but they've been placed in your life. Remembering on the Rabbi Jenny Show today is not about remembering the negative. It's about remembering the positive, being grateful for our gifts. Sometimes those come in the form of lessons that the people around us have shown us. Sometimes they feel like they weren't positive at all. But when we get to the other side of it, when we remember what was on the other side of it, that's the remembering that we talk about. I want to remind you of remembering in Hebrew, that pathway. I think it's important that you hear these words again, listeners. I think it's important that you hear these words and you take them into your heart, because these are the sacred centers of your energy vessel. This is who you are. Okay, I want you to remember wisdom. I want you to, you're in a state right now where you have to connect. You have to connect to your higher wisdom, your higher knowing of the sun rising and the sun setting. And you're going to bring that wisdom, the Zion, you're going to bring it into your heart. That's the pathway from wisdom to your heart. And then you're going to have compassion and love for yourself, because you're about to hit a new level. You're about to explode into space. You're about to go into orbit where it's like just smooth sailing and everybody's going to be able to see you from the satellite and all. You're going to go that, and then you're going to be able to complete. You're going to have a sense of victory. And at that point, then creation happens. It's so funny how life works. It feels like you're there and you're not there yet. Right? It's like, I did all this work. I made it. I made it out of there. I made it out of Pharaoh. I made it past the place. I made it. I worked really, really hard. And now I got to do it again? Now I got to contain myself? Discipline is really, really important. So the other thing we want to remind you on the Rabbi Jenny Show, get yourself a practice, whether it's breathing. Breathing is really amazing. You can learn ahava breathing from me at a workshop if you want to, but you just say the word love. Ahava. Where you just breathe in love 3 times. You need to do that. You need to breathe. When you breathe, your body remembers. It doesn't remember the pain. It remembers, oh my God, I'm a part of life force. Listeners, you're a part of life force, and life is waiting for you. I could do this all day, light you up, because this is exciting. I want you to remember who you are. I want you to remember, in the words of Moses, remember all the things that have happened up to today, to get you where you are, all the connections, all the miracles, all the people, places, and things that have come. You are just about to explode into orbit. I can't wait to hear about it. This is Rabbi Jenny. This is a good one. Re-listen to it. Thank you, Epiphany. Thank you, Manju Kalandini. Thank you, Tracy Kawa. Check her out. And Dr. Jenna, this is Rabbi Jenny. We'll talk to you next week. Remember who you are. Bye-bye.
You have been listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny. Join us next week for another session of love, light, and joy as Rabbi Jenny takes life to the next level. Are you ready? Rabbi Jenny says the time is now. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.